I think it's fair to say at this point that everything is coming up Kansas. We have 187, 88 food coming in here. We have about 150 fuel coming in here. And admittedly, we need 356 food and 248 fuel, but I'm pretty confident that we'll get there. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a little bit more focusing on Kansas today, but that's not the only thing I want to do. Now, before we talk about what I want to do, I have made one small change to things between this episode and the last one, and that was to come over here and upgrade the Kansas food delivery line to use the Peterbilt trucks. Apparently, I didn't do that. Apparently, that's something I forgot to do, and that has fortunately brought that line up to 326 on the rate, which is fantastic given that Kansas happens to want, 356. So it's not 1-to-1, but it's pretty close, and it should mean that if the production of food at this factory happens to continue to increase, which I'm hopeful that it will, then as Kansas grows, we should be able to meet that demand and everything should be good. Now, at some point in the last episode, and I'll completely understand if you don't remember, it was a bit of a long one, but at some point in that episode, I talked about the fact that I might start splitting up my train lines a little bit, because at the moment we have lines that go from Salem to Kansas, which is relatively long. It has a rate of 1,098. It's there every 112 seconds, which is great, but that's because we have a lot of trains on that line. The problem with this line is it's losing a lot of money. We have capacity for 2,000 passengers. We're moving maybe a quarter of that. And then on the line that goes out to Montgomery, things aren't much better. We're losing money there as well. The rate is less, but it's kind of less in demand. It's a shorter line and the frequency is less. Well, higher actually as well. It's less frequent is what I'm getting at. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this, about the idea of condensing large passenger lines down into smaller lines and just having more of them. And I realized we might be able to do that really nicely with the spread of cities that I'm focusing on thus far because, and by the way, the frame rate, it's to be expected at this point. That's just kind of how transport fever is. But what I was thinking we could do is we could have a line that goes from Kansas to Garland to San Francisco, and then it goes back. We could have a line that goes from San Francisco to High Point to Salem, and then it goes back. And then from Salem to Oklahoma City to Montgomery, and then it goes back. We take two relatively large lines and condense them into smaller lines. Well, actually the Salem to Montgomery line would just be the same, but you get the idea. I'm wondering if that would be better. It might get people moving more. I don't think it'll do anything for the Montgomery situation, but I mean, we're losing something like 13 million on that line versus 34 million on the Salem to Kansas line. So if I can improve things a little bit there, losing less money is still a win as far as I'm concerned. And speaking of being concerned about things, I am very concerned about the state of traffic going in and out of San Francisco. Another change that I made that I forgot about actually was I got rid of the waypoints that were on this lower exit for High Points, and that has pushed my machines delivery to San Francisco back onto this road, which it's not really any better. To be quite honest with you, it's still, traffic into San Francisco is still an absolute nightmare. If we look at this line, there's something like 60 vehicles on it. It has a rate of 1,104. Hold on a minute. How did this happen? They only want 341. How did this happen? You know what? Select all of these, sell all, but oh, I've just noticed the cargo on this line is a lot. I don't want to lose that cargo, man, but you know what? Let me go in here and let me leave myself with, I'm gonna say, I'm still gonna lose a lot of cargo doing this, but I'm gonna say leave me with 15 vehicles on that line. That brings the rate down to 276. If I go in here and say give me two more of those trucks, it brings it up to 313, which is pretty close. Give me one more, 331, 335. Give me another one, and that is now in excess. So that's better. That's fewer trucks going into San Francisco, which is hopefully going to keep them nice and happy. So that should improve traffic a little bit. And then looking down here, we have bricks delivery. The rate on that is 99. There's 15 vehicles. Demand in San Francisco is 62. So a little bit of excess, but I think taking something like 41 vehicles off the road there, that's got to be good. I don't know how we got into that state or what I was thinking, but that's hopefully going to fix things. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead with this idea on the train lines, and I think we're going to go ahead and just start splitting things a little bit. So Salem to Kansas City is going to go away. Salem to Montgomery is fine. Let's take a look at Salem to Kansas City because it needs to change considerably. So we are... Salem to Kansas City starts in San Francisco? Really? Okay. You know what? Let me just manage these vehicles. Let me just sell them, manage the line, and just delete the line. That's going to be the easier way to do this. So we want to go from Salem through High Point into San Francisco, and we are going to want to go back, which it looks like we're going to be able to do quite easily. So we'll go ahead and create that line. I think this was the original Salem to San Francisco line. I don't think this originally went out to Kansas City, which is fair enough. So we'll go something like this. We'll go straight to about there. It goes in, it goes back. It is going to go to High Point Central, which is perfect. It is doing everything that I want it to do, using the same platforms, and that's great. So this is passenger train. It is going to be Salem to San Francisco, and I guess it can be, well, I mean, it's going to be sort of a yellowy color. I think it's that color. It's not that color, but you know what? They're now both going to be that color, which is completely fine. And so just like that, we also have our San Francisco to Kansas line, and we're going to figure out whether or not it is any good as well. Now, what I'd like to do is take a look at the Salem to Montgomery line. It currently has a rate of 827. It has a cargo capacity of 840. I think I'm going to bring that down until we start filling out these trains. So I think what we'll do is we're going to sell 2 of these guys, and that's totally fine. We're going to replace the rest of them with something a bit new, because we do have some new locomotives in here that we can play around with. So we have the EMD AEM 7, which is, it's good on power. It's actually the highest power that we have on any locomotive. The tractive effort is not quite up there, but I might try this one out just to be a bit different. I do like the look of these guys, but I think we'll go with this one and just see what we end up with. And I don't know what part of this thing gets changed. Oh, it's the blue at the bottom gets changed. Okay. Let's go for a bright yellow. Maybe not a bright yellow. What about something a little, what about more like this kind of color? I'm kind of okay with that. As for passengers, we do have the West Rail West Fleet locomotives available. Can go 124. That's a good question. How fast are you? 124. Okay. This will be interesting. We did get this, the Bombardier bi-level. It has capacity for 33, but it is much slower. I think we go with the West Rail. So we're going to go for this. We're going to say capacity of 105. I think is fair enough. Can I get a nice round number on that? I can get 210. That's maybe a bit much. It's, well, yeah, I think 210 is maybe a little bit much. Let's go for 126 on the capacity. Yeah, we'll do 126. Actually, no. We'll do this because it gives us good power, whatever. So yeah, 124 in 3 minutes. I don't know if we're ever going to get up to 124 miles per hour on a relatively short line, but you know what? We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. If I take one of these off, it'll still do it in about 3 minutes. So we'll do this. We'll replace these guys. That should be fine. 315 is the capacity. Rate is 310. Frequencies every 4 minutes. I'm sort of okay with that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate these guys. I'm going to take 3 of them and I'm going to move them onto the Salem to San Francisco line. And then I'm going to duplicate these guys and I'm going to take 3 of them and I'm going to move those to the Salem to, or the San Francisco to Kansas line, which apparently is going to have some problems. No path electric. Really? So what are you trying to do? So you're coming out of here, which is fine. You're going to try and loop around this way. And that's going to give us some issues because it has to, oh, it wants to go in here, doesn't it? Okay. So we might need somewhere new for this depot to connect to everything, which I mean, that's doable. I can completely do that. We can just take something up this way and connect it to the tracks up there. Or I could I could continue to have this. I don't think I want this anymore. I think I'm going to get rid of this. And that's probably going to give me some issues with the other lines as well. Yeah, it absolutely does. But if we take that out, we can just run a section of track straight up here. And I think that's going to be the easier way to do this. So we'll just do something like, let's see, from about here. I think this can just be a single section of track as well. So from about there to, I'm going to say about there should be good. We'll go a little bit further into the middle between these two sets of signals. We'll go like this. We'll confirm it. It is not doing too much to that road, which is great. It's relatively flat, which is great. And then, so this just needs to come in this way. Although I think I'm going to connect it in both directions to this this lower track. So basically just something like this should be pretty good. And then from this spot, we want to go and do something like this as well. And then we do exactly the same thing up here as well. So basically this guy is going to go to about there. We'll bring that back a little bit so it's a little nicer looking. And then exactly the same thing going to the left. And that gives us room for the new trains to come out. I actually do really like this locomotive. It looks pretty good. We'll see if it gets up to speed. It's heading to San Francisco. Of course, we have an auto save the second I start talking as well, which is great. But I'm hoping this is going to be good. I'm hoping this is going to improve things a little bit. And honestly, this is probably a good opportunity to go through and look at a bunch of my passenger vehicles across the board. Because what I've realized is if we look at road passengers, I'm sure quite a few of these lines are going to be using some older vehicles. Yeah, some of them are. Some of them are still using the twin coach a little bit. Some of them are still using the fishbowl. The reason I bring this up is because I do have some new options. If we look at the Garland loop, manage the vehicles and go to replace, we do have this guy, the Chevrolet C60. It can do 50 miles per hour. It does carry fewer people than the MAN SL192 though. But regardless, we could just upgrade to the 192. So I think that's what we're going to do with all of these guys that haven't been upgraded yet, is just get them upgraded to a slightly more modern vehicle. It's 6 years old. That's fine. I'm kind of okay with that. We'll just get that done. And that also reminds me that we have a lot of old trucks around right now. I'm not really going to touch those just yet because I'm going to have to go through and kind of rebalance all of those lines. But at the very least, we've upgraded all of our buses. We do have these new trains heading out as well, which is great news. We do have some people waiting around to head down to both San Francisco and Kansas City. So hopefully we're going to see some good progress. Now, this whole idea with the trains is not just something I want to do for this space. I talked about it in the last episode. I mentioned that I might connect Kansas, which now has a new quarry, which is exciting. We could potentially connect Kansas to New York, into Palmdale, into Beaumont, into Columbus, down to Albuquerque. We have these options. We have these things that we could do. And I'm really considering it because I think it would be a great idea. It's not going to be crazy popular, and we are probably going to do it in stages, although I might do one big train that goes back and forth between all of them. I think that'd be interesting, but I think that's kind of what I want to do here, is I want to start adding some train stations to New York and to everybody else. So at the very least, let's set something up that goes as far as Palmdale. So we'll have the New York station, we'll extend this station, have a little bus that goes into Palmdale, and that should be fine. It is going to mean that we have to change the way this line goes here, but I'm kind of okay with that. In fact, I'm going to pause while I do this because I'm going to have to bulldoze a pretty decent chunk of this track. And just like that, we have a train station in New York City. It felt right to give it a few extra platforms just because it's New York. Although what I'm also thinking I might do is I'm going to do a little bit of bulldozing here because I want to flatten some of this terrain. It's slightly bothering me. It shouldn't be, but it is slightly bothering me. So we're going to flatten out just a chunk of this so that we can maybe have a little bit of fun with New York if I ever decide to build out here, which I'm not really sure if I'm going to do. Probably not going to do, but we'll have a bit of fun with it anyway at some point. But at the very least, let's go ahead and bring a nice road straight across here. A little something, something like that. We'll bring you straight up through there. A little something, something like that. And then the rest of these, I'm not really too worried about. This one is going to run straight into here, which is fine. I might lock this road just for the sake of traffic. That might be completely pointless in a city this small, though. So I think for the time being, we'll just run these guys straight through to get a nice even connection. Nice, some nice parallel roads across here. And that should be all right. And then from down here, we'll run something kind of straight out like this as well. So that gives us a nice corner to work with there. Everything's kind of nicely lined up, which is great. Let's just go ahead and smooth out the bits of terrain that are messed up, and we'll get everything connected again. So when it comes to cargo, I mean, they want food, they want machines. We're not necessarily going to be providing that from the current cargo lines that we have. So not really too worried about that. We'll bring this straight out. We'll get ourselves some parallel tracks. And then we'll see what kind of connection I can get here. What kind of speeds are we going to be looking at? So 186, 186, and 186 across the board. That is good. So that gives us our connection to New York. And then for the tunnel, that's going to be a little bit trickier. But if I just go ahead and connect this straight down, what is that going to look like? So 186 the whole way through. It is honestly not bad. I don't mind that. I think that's kind of what we're going to go for. So we'll confirm that. We'll turn off parallel tracks because it doesn't automatically do it when you go over a road. And we'll just sort of bring this down to here. Keeps it nice and fast. It is going to go into the tunnel right there and give us our connection back, which is great. And that's going to be step one of getting a passenger train line to come down to New York and whatever the other one was, Palmdale, from Kansas. Now, what I think I'm going to do, I can let the game run while I'm doing this. What I think I'm going to do for the Palmdale connection, I mentioned doing buses and stuff like that. I think that's very much going to be the plan. So we'll get, I might need to expand this slightly differently. I think we need to put some passenger platforms here so that I can, yeah, I think this is the way we're going to do it. We're gonna put some passenger platforms right here. So I can sort of have the two sets of tracks coming through here. It is so much easier if I pause the game. It really, oh, I don't know what's going on there. Something's not happy. It really doesn't like it if you try modifying stations while the game's running. It's really not a fan of that. What are you complaining about? What do you mean there's no path electric? Hello? Train 50. What are you trying to do? You're trying to go down here. How is there no path? We have catenaries on both sides, I think. Can I just tell you to stop? Is that going to fix it? So I stop the train and then set the train to go. I think it's completely fine. So absolutely no issues. It's just transport fever being transport fever, I guess. Anyway, we have our passenger platforms. We're going to do a medium building on this side of things. And I'm just going to do something a bit like this. We'll sort of extend down either way. We'll go a little bit further with it. We can maybe do another medium main building here. So we get another nice archway on there. We'll do some more medium side buildings just like this. And an autosave is going to slow down all of my progress as it usually does. I've said it a million times. I will probably say it a million times more. I should increase the amount of time between my autosaves. I've said it so many times. I'm probably not going to, because I'm quite confident that the second, ooh, you know what? We'll not do the smaller building. I'm quite confident that the second I do that is the second the game is then going to crash after I've done just anything important. It's just how these things are. It's just how these things work. We'll do the small building right at the end there because it does fill in quite nicely. And that's basically, we're going to have people coming out of this side of the station. So if I go in here and I get myself a small street, I have no idea if I can get this to be perfectly parallel, but I'm definitely going to try. So we're going to come across here as best we possibly can. It is a bit of a slope though, so it might not be a bad idea to get the flatten tool and just bring this all in line so that we have a nice straight road in front of this. I think maybe we go for a medium street, so we've got some trees on it as well. And that's maybe not going to work. Is this one going to be okay? Can I make this happen? That looks actually pretty good. Is it doing some weird stuff here? It is. Oh, I don't like that. You know, I will say I love these buildings. I really do. I think they look absolutely fantastic. And I think what I'm also going to do is do a proper little bus station across the street from this thing. Not that we need it by any means, but I think it just deserves it. I think it's something kind of grand looking, and I think it'll be pretty good to just have like a proper little bus station. I want to say right about there should be pretty good. And I'm wondering, can I put buildings around this? Oh, I can. They don't look as good. They're not quite as they're not quite as fancy looking, but you know what? I don't mind it. I do want to get can I get like a couple of the larger buildings on here? Is that a thing? Can I get like, I can't get one in the middle, unfortunately, but I can get one there and I can get one there. So I think that's what I'm going to go for, is just put a couple of buildings on this thing. I can get one sort of at the top up here as well. And then a couple of the smaller side buildings like this, just to give it a bit of a footprint, give it a little something, a little bit different. You know, I think that looks pretty solid. And then for buses going into Palmdale, I think what we'll do is just connect these streets right here. We can have a bus that comes in, it can just sort of loop around and go back out, and that should be totally fine. So we'll do a bus and tram stop right here. We'll do one right here. We'll do one right here, and we'll do one right down here as well. And then it comes out, it goes to the station, it goes back into the city. That should be solid. So let's set up a new line. We're going to go from down here. We're going all the way up and around like I just said. And then thinking about it, we should probably do the same thing for New York. So let's very quickly get ourselves a little something down here. We're not going to do any fancy stations this time, but we will just do something that loops around about as much as it needs to. So we'll go down to here and we'll set ourselves a new line that just loops all the way to all of those 5 stops. That seems pretty good. Covers just about everything, has access to the main road. So road passengers, we're going to do New York loop number 1, and we are going to paint this thing. Let's see, we got blue. You know what? We'll go for a different shade of blue right in the middle there. Actually, maybe just what about a nice strong kind of red color? I think that's what we'll go for. A nice strong red color. And now we need vehicles, really. I don't know if these places are all connected together. It does look like I could get some buses from New York down to Palmdale via this mountain road, and honestly, I'm kind of here for it. I do love a mountain road. It's unnecessary distance. It's unnecessary money saving, right? I don't need to save money by not building another road depot over in Palmdale, but I'm going to, because I think it's going to be kind of interesting. So we'll do this. We'll smooth this out, and we'll get ourselves some buses for New York and Palmdale. And then with all that set up, all we need to do at this point is figure out how we're getting the trains up into Kansas. Now, my thinking is we come off of the tunnel in here and we sort of cut through this basin. We cut through the mountain. We kind of swing past here and connect to the existing track. Honestly, that seems about the only thing I could do with this. That seems like the only thing that makes sense. I'll also say good number of people wanting to head to San Francisco from Kansas. So this might have actually worked out. We have a good number of people wanting on the trains here as well, which is great. We have a good number of people wanting on trains here. So we might have some success with this. This whole idea of splitting things up might have worked out. We also have a ridiculous number of people wanting to fly down to Kansas again, which is great. So yeah, that's all kind of turning around, which is exactly what we're looking for. I'll tell you what, let's figure out how all these connections are going to work first. So let's see. Give me a little bit of track here. Now this is going to get messy. There's actually too much slope on this. Oh, this is going to get so messy. I don't exactly know how I'm going to make this work. I guess I could do a tunnel. I think a tunnel might actually be the safest bet on this. So it just goes in there. It sort of comes up on the other side. Yeah, you know what? I think that is actually going to be the best way to do this. It's going to be a bit of a slow turn, but I think I'm okay with that. Also, apparently it really didn't want to do the parallel bit there, so we'll just sort of extend this out manually to about there. And we'll bring this bit down to about there. We can smooth this out as well. It might be a little it might be a little bit close to the airport though, is my concern. Oh man, how am I gonna do this? I really really didn't think too much about this. I'm not gonna lie. Might be obvious that I didn't really think too much about this. But we're going to come off somewhere. We're going to try, I guess, to go from about here through this mountain. Oh, I need to make this a nice, hold on. This needs to be a nice straight shot to here. So give me parallel tracks, and that's okay. And then can I just do this? Is that an option? So it does slow down. It does have another tunnel though, which is great. It goes under that road. I mean, it is slow around that bend, but I think that's kind of the best way we can do it. So we'll confirm that. I don't think it's going to parallel automatically again. It didn't. And then I guess the real question is, what way do I want to connect this? And I'm sort of looking at this space back here and thinking that maybe I just get a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but maybe I just get a little bit lazy and we sort of just punch some tracks vaguely in that direction for a second and then see what I can do here. Now, again, I kind of need this to go parallel. I kind of need this to work with me here. In fact, I'm thinking I'm just going to turn parallel tracks off because I think it's just getting a little bit weird. But basically, this guy would connect to this track right about here somewhere if it's going to let me do it. It really doesn't seem to want to, which is unfortunate. I think it might be the height difference is kind of the problem. Can I, in any way, shape, or form, make that happen? There we go. So this would just sort of shoot over that way. And then from right about here, we would want to do exactly the same thing going to that way. And this train is never going to go up this track. It doesn't need to. This is a passenger line. That's a cargo line. We have no need for any of that. What we can do is set up some signals to make sure that there's nothing too crazy going on. We can set up a signal right about here. And that should work. So now we can punch this guy straight through the mountain. So very, very simply from here, going all the way in a nice straight line, preferably. I don't know where the snapping point is, which is a little bit frustrating. There it is. So that's our snap point, which is totally fine. So we'll go to here. Again, parallel tracks aren't on, which is completely fine. We're gonna bring this all the way up, and we are gonna try to get something that's actually gonna look pretty decent here, and that's gonna give us some speed. So right now this isn't gonna work, but what I can do is bring this all back a little bit. And then hopefully, if I bring this one back far enough and bring this one back far enough, I don't think this is going to give us a super fast curve. Yeah, it does have to slow down a little bit, but that's, again, I'm kind of okay with that. It's not the end of the world. We've got a nice little tunnel exit there. We'll smooth that out. And that essentially is going to be our connection for the passenger line. We just need to hook it up to the station in Kansas itself, which, oh boy, this is going to be something. This is going to be, it's going to be a mess is what it's going to be. Let's figure out how I'm going to do this. I think first and foremost, we'll bring this up the hill a little bit further. And then I need to turn parallel tracks off. I need this guy to go here. And that is pretty slow, but it is coming into a station, so that's probably reasonable. And then we want this guy to go here. And I guess that works. I guess that's about all we're going to do. Now, this signal is going to get moved to here. This signal can go to here. We'll keep that one there, and that should be fine. So what I'm going to do next is auto signal. I'm going to put one right about here, and that did work. And then I'm going to, get rid of this one because we don't really need it. And if we go all the way down here, we have all these signals set up automatically, which is beautiful. We're going to do exactly the same thing going in the opposite direction, and we'll set it to replace anything in front just so that it's all set up. Did that not work? Apparently not. You know what? We'll just do yes for everything in front, and there we go. Let me just make sure that set up everything the way I'd want it to be. It did do a double signal here. That's what I was trying to avoid, but there we go. So that's all the signals set up for that entire line, and that should mean that now I get to go in here, I get to go to new line, and I get to say that from right about here, we can go down to New York, we can go down to Palmdale. I have no idea if people are going to be interested in going to either of these stations, but we're going to do it anyway, and it's going to be fine. I don't have any connection to Palmdale right now, but that's fine. That's something we can deal with. We're going to come back into New York. New York is going to be platform 1 on the way back. I don't think it matters. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Passenger train. Kansas to Palmdale, and we'll get that to be a nice, I don't know, nice green color, I guess. Actually, no, we'll go for a yellow, a bright. No, we've done yellow before. We'll do blue, and that'll be all right. So I need to make sure that the trains can actually get through here, and I've also realized that obviously there's no connection at this end for the passengers. So what we'll do is very quickly fix that. And so now, looking at this, everything seems to be going the way I would want it to go, which is fantastic. The only thing I'm considering is having a bypass for the cargo lines around New York, which might slow things down. It might not be the best thing to do, but I think I'm going to do it regardless, just so that we have a way for these trains to not get held back by the passenger lines. So this will kind of be a temporary, well, actually, now that I think about it, we need this in both directions, so I need to configure this again. This will probably be a temporary thing. I don't think this is something we're going to keep long-term because I think it would look terrible, but just for the time being, what we'll do is go in here, we'll get some tracks, and we're going to say go from here to there, basically, is kind of the idea. So from there to there, and we'll do sort of the same thing down here. From that spot, go into that spot. Of course, it doesn't want to work. I think I'm going to have to just sort of bring this all back and then do the other track first. Do this guy. In fact, we'll just bring this down and just run it right against this one. We'll bring this guy down, run it right up to here. And then with some smoothing and a few signals, we have something that looks like this, which, like I said, it allows the cargo to go out and around, which I think is fair enough. Now, I would like to add some waypoints here. We'll use these guys. We'll put one right about here. We'll put one down at this side as well. And I do want to have a look at my cargo line. So looking at you, what we want to say is that on the way back, so on your way to Kansas City, after Palmdale, I need you to go to that waypoint. So again, it's going to completely avoid New York, which is fantastic. And then this guy isn't getting interrupted at all. Obviously, the passenger trains might be slower. In fact, the passenger trains will probably be faster between all of these guys, which is its own little problem. But my hope is that I can maybe use, oh boy, do I want to use the train depot down in Tampa for this? I don't know that I do. I think I'm going to, though. Oh, wait, no, I can't because it doesn't have that other connection. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe we just do a train depot down here. That might be the way to go with this. Can I be really cheeky and put a little train depot? Oh, you can do this? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's really cool. Oh, man. That's awesome. Okay. Well, that makes my life so much easier. All right. Kansas to Palmdale is good to go. Let's buy a train and let's just do, honestly, same thing we did before. Give me this guy. Give me a bunch of these locomotives up to, what was it, 120? No, it was up to 105. We'll paint them, I want to say red. We'll buy it and then we have to paint it red, I think. That's not red. We'll paint it like this nice strong red color. I think that'll look good. And we're gonna do 2 of them to start with, and we'll see how that goes. So passenger train, it is Kansas to Palmdale. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited to see how this goes. So we should wait. Where they are in there, right? Yeah, there it is. Oh, look at you. It actually looks really good in red. I'm not gonna lie. That looks so good. I'm really excited about this, man. I'm not gonna lie. We've got the Palmdale buses have finally made it to Palmdale, which is great news. We've got the buses going around New York already. I don't imagine there's going to be much in the way of growth. Oh, it is growing a little bit. I guess the destinations are probably helping, right? Yeah, that destination number is climbing really, really quickly. We're seeing a lot of development in New York right now, which is lovely. I think that's gonna have some really good knock-on effects for New York, and I would imagine Palmdale as well, right? Destinations are climbing. Yep, aiming for 362. That's great. Oh, that makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. And this guy, I think, should be able to reach full speed. It'll get stuck behind cargo trains, but other than that happening, it should be able to reach full speed. You are not full of fuel at all. What's going on there? So why is this thing not producing all that much? Or is it? And that was just an unfortunate train. I guess it's not really. Shipment is 193. The rate on this line is 394. So I'm assuming 193 is the current demand in Kansas. No. All right. Well, you know what? We'll not worry too much about it. Oh, we have a lot sitting around here though, don't we? Yeah, there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. The rate on this is completely fine though. We should have enough trucks coming down to be totally all right. We've got no one wanting to go to Palmdale right now, which is to be expected, but a really solid number of people getting on the trains to everywhere else. And you know, I've just realized it mentioned that there was a tram that was, where do we have trams? Do we have multiple tram lines, or are my trams, what is it? PT for passenger tram? Train cargo. No, it's just tram. Yeah, we just have the old Salem trams. Let's, oh wow. There's a lot of people suddenly wanting to go to Montgomery. I would imagine a lot of those people are wanting to go to the airport though, right? I mean, these trains aren't even filling up. I would just imagine that maybe we put one more on there to bring that rate up a little bit, or not the rate, the frequency down a little bit. We'll see what happens. Regardless, I do want to look at these trams because I do think we got some new ones. So let's see what we got. Yeah, we have these guys. We have the Toronto. What are we using right now? We're using the A7. Yeah, these guys are faster. They can carry more people. Let's get that upgrade going. So that's loop 1 has been nicely upgraded. Loop 2, manage the vehicles, replace them with the CRLV. And how do they look? What do they actually look like? Palmdale wants construction material. Of course it does. They look pretty good. They look pretty good. That's great. I'm very happy about that. Little concerned about the number of people wanting to go to Montgomery, like I said, but also a little concerned about the number of people wanting to go to Kansas as well. So I don't know. I'm quite happy about a lot of this. Well, again, also a little concerned about the amount of wood just sitting around here, but you know what? I'm sure it's fine. And how are we looking for traffic? Is it any better? No. So I got rid of those. I got rid of, what was it, 40 something vehicles coming down into San Francisco, and traffic is just as bad as it's ever been. You know what? At least my trains are, I think, oh God, yeah, that's so many people. My trains are better, right? They're definitely, they're better. I mean, this one's full. I think we need more trains on this line as well. Give me 2 more for this guy, and we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if that's necessary or if it's a terrible idea. I'm also just, I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited to see people going down to New York and Palmdale. I'm sure the people in both these cities are, I mean, look at this. New York has skyscrapers now. It only took us until 1976. And Palmdale is exactly the same. They want food now. They want 2 new things. I also want to point out, both of these cities, their destinations statistic was a couple of hundred. It's now 4,200, 4,300 and climbing in New York. So connecting this to the region has done wonders for New York. Same with Palmdale, 1,900 and climbing. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. And Palmdale gets good business too. We've got the obviously got the fuel refinery, so some good stuff going on there. Little concerned about how the trains are going to handle this slope and whether or not they're going to be able to I don't know, safely navigate this entire mess that we have going on. Looks like it'll be okay though. We've got this little guy waiting for this train to pass, which is definitely a choice. That train, I feel, could have just waited back there and this one could have kept going, but maybe they share a platform. I don't really know. Either way, it is cool having sort of the unified style of the trains, right? We have the same locomotive, the same carriages, just different colors. I do like that a lot. What are you waiting for now? Is there... Oh, that's why you're waiting. The other train was already in there and it has 13 people on board. Okay. I mean, that's not much, let's be honest. It's really not much, but that's a start, and that's what's important about it. You know, I wasn't going to do this today. I was going to move to wrap things up a little bit sooner than later, but I think we're going to go ahead and get our Beaumont and our Columbus connections in here as well. I would go down to Albuquerque, but what I think we'll do is similar to what we did with Salem, High Point, San Francisco, etc. We'll have 3 stops. So Kansas to New York to Palmdale. You can transfer in Palmdale for Beaumont and for Columbus. And what's also kind of cool, I might have to wait for the autosave to go through to do this. I'm also going to have to pause while I do this as well. But what's also kind of cool is, since I realized that I can snap buildings to train tracks, I can do this, right? I can take out this entire section of track. I can go in here, I can get myself a passenger station, and I can just snap it like this. So I can just have it be perfectly in line with the existing tracks. I can just insert it in there, and that's I don't know why I've never tried this before, but that's kind of a big deal. That's pretty huge to me, at the very least. I feel like I don't know if everyone's known this forever, or that's just really cool. It is. It's just really, really cool. I am thinking we're going to have to do a lot more bypassing around here, but honestly, that's kind of okay. We'll do the same thing down here by Columbus as well. We'll get a whole chunk of track taken out of here, and we'll get ourselves another station building right about here, which apparently doesn't want to work. Can I do it at this side? I can. Do I want to do it out there? I mean, I don't really, but I might have to. We have got some collisions going on there. I don't really know what that is. So you know what? We'll just do it down here to make life a little bit easier. And then we can just sort of reconnect everything as we need to. So we'll get myself some track. We'll bring this out here. That'll hopefully double up automatically. It did. And then, like I said, we're going to need to bypass those stations so that the cargo trains don't get held up. So very, very quickly, I'm going to try and do this as sort of, I don't want to say as cheaply as I possibly can, but I am going to try and be a little bit cheap with it to just make life a little bit easier. We'll go kind of as short as we can get away with on the little bypasses, because again, the whole point here is that oh, this might all have to get rebuilt as well. You know what? We will rebuild this part because the tunnel was slightly bugged out anyway. So we'll bring that right back. We'll flatten this out. I don't love doing this. I know we've done a lot of weird terrain stuff thus far, but it's all right. We can make it work. Give me those parallel tracks again. Turn off the parallel tracks. Bring you down sort of as short as we can manage to about there and to about there. And then we want to just hop straight across. So we want to do something again as short as we can get away with. Something right about there. Something right about there. And that's just going to be a very, very simple bypass for the cargo trains. It's again probably going to be temporary because this is just another passenger platform, but that's totally fine. Let's also just redo this entire tunnel because it is a bit nasty looking right now. You know, in doing this, it's just hit me that this is going to massively slow down my cargo trains. Well, in terms of speed anyway, I would imagine they'd be a lot slower if they had to wait for other trains to clear a station. So this might, it's good and bad. I could just double up the line, but I don't think that would make too much sense. So we'll just sort of stick with this idea. Now, what we've got to do at this point is just get some very basic public transport connections out to these stations. So let me just flatten this terrain a little bit here. So we'll go for, we'll actually flatten it quite a bit because I'll probably do an actual station at this guy. We'll smooth the terrain kind of around the edges, and we'll do the same thing down here as well, just to make sure we have something nice to work with. So this all gets flattened out. That looks fine by me. We'll sort of smooth the edges so you can't really tell what I've done. And then we'll go in. We'll get ourselves a road right about there. Should be fine. It doesn't look like it's doing anything too weird. So we'll go for this. We'll do the same thing down this way as well. Just a very, very simple, very straightforward road. Right about, I want to say right about there. Should be good as well. And then, like I said, we'll go for the bus and tram stops. I'm not going to go for all the buildings around it this time. I think that's maybe a little bit extra that we don't really need to do. So we'll just sort of slap this guy right about here. And then again, same thing all the way down here, right in front of the station. Should be good. And then in terms of connections, for now, I'm going to take this road out just so I can get something that runs perfectly in line here to about that spot. Swing this around and then smooth all of this out. If the city, you know, if it grows any further, which I'm sure it will, we can reconnect this. In fact, I might just reconnect it now, because what that's going to do is give me a really nice shot for buses to sort of come down, take a right here, continue maybe straight across here, up and into this space, back down and out to the train. So that's actually a pretty good connection to have. Down this way, I think what we'll do is maybe take this entire road back. We'll bring it right back to about there. This guy can just run straight out because this is going to be a really, really solid connection for everything. So to about there, I think. We'll curve this around, and then this guy can just sort of connect up to it, which should be completely fine. So give me a nice little small country road. We'll bring it up like this. Try and get it to sort of be perpendicular, which I think that is. And that seems pretty good. We're not using that thing, but we might as well have it connected just in case. And there we go. We have ourselves a Palmdale to Columbus train line. Runs the entire way from New York, not from New York, from Palmdale, obviously, down to Columbus. We just need to get ourselves some buses looping around these towns. Well, actually, no, hold on a minute. Beaumont. Palmdale, Beaumont, and Columbus. It's just clicked that it's Beaumont that I'm connecting to here. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was actually doing, but we'll get a stop right about here. We'll get a stop right about here. We'll go up to there. We'll come down to here as well. And then we're going to come down to the train station, which is totally fine. And then down here, similar story, train station into this spot. We'll go here. We'll go up here. We'll come down to this road, and that'll be great. So we want a new line that starts right by Columbus Transfer. It's going up to Williams Street. We're going up to Sycamore Street. We're going up to Mill Street, then to East Street and back to the Columbus Transfer. So this is road passengers, COLUMBUS, Columbus Loop number 1 is what we'll call it. And we'll get that painted in a nice, let's go for sort of a nice bright blue, just so it stands out. Now, can I get some vehicles to this without too much trouble? Albuquerque's connected down to here. Yeah, I think I'm going to need another. Now, Beaumont is connected to Palmdale, so I can use the same bus depot that we used in New York, which might be silly, but I think I'm going to. And then I think, honestly, Glendale, I'm going to connect it down to Columbus, and I'm going to just continue to use that same depot. A little bit lazy of me, but I might as well. So we'll do something like this. We can run a nice sort of straight road across country. A little something like this. I'm going to try and not have it carve out the terrain too much. It is going to in a few places, but that's okay. It's going to go to here. It's going to go, you know what? We're going to go around the trees. So we're going to sort of cut this way and then cut back like this. And the reason I want to do that is because it can give me this really nice little connection that just swoops straight in there. So that should be solid. That'll give me everything I need. We do have the Columbus loop. We don't have the Beaumont one. So again, we'll go from here. We're going to go into all of these spots, and that's going to let me just loop around Beaumont really, really nicely. So again, road passengers, it is going to be, let's see, BEAUMONT, loop number 1. Not really sure. Again, there's going to be a second loop ever, but that's fine. We'll make it this nice bright sort of orangey color, and that should give us everything we need. So let's pick up something like 5 buses for each line. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can get these guys to be, we'll do the nice bright sort of orange color, and we'll put them on the Beaumont line. And then the bright blue buses are going to go down to Columbus, and that means that the only thing I have left to do is set myself up a train or a few trains to run up and down here, which is where this guy is going to come in. So same story as before, electric. We want the AEM7, and we're going to go for up to, I think it was 105 of the for the capacity. We'll buy it. We've had what? Orange, we've had red. We could try yellow. I could try yellow. I think we'll try yellow. I'm going to duplicate you, and I'm going to put one more on there. And then all of these guys are going to go on the Palmdale to Columbus line, and we'll see how it goes. I also want to see what they look like in yellow, and honestly, not It's not my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. Definitely not my favorite color that we've gone for in a train, but it will certainly do. And that's about all I can really ask for. And now we just get to see, I mean, people are already waiting to move around Columbus. We should see, yep, the destinations are starting to climb already, which is fantastic news. Looking up into Beaumont, should start to see the same thing. The destinations counter is climbing as well. And then for Palmdale, that number is still climbing, which is amazing news. In New York, we actually have a lot of people waiting to hop on some trains there, which is very exciting. Destinations in New York is maybe plateaued a little bit around 5706, which is great. Aiming for almost 1,000 people in there is kind of exciting. And then looking up into Kansas, how are we looking? We've got a good few people wanting to go to Palmdale as well. That makes me really, really happy. Oh, what's happened? Oh no. What's going on? So you are blocking. Wait, what's going on here? Hold on a minute. Oh, hold on. So you, oh, ooh. Okay. Can I send you back to the depot? Like if I send you back and turn you around, can I not turn you around? Is that not an option? There you go. Yeah, so this signal needs to move a little bit, I think. That signal needs to be, if it's here, if it's a little bit further back, I think it'll be okay. So I think if I put the signal here, that should be fine, I want to say. So that should mean, right, so you are now able to, if I turn you around again, well, actually no, if I put you back on a line, so if I put you on Palmdale to Columbus, I need you to stop. I need you to wait. We need to wait for this train to pass, is what we need to do there. So once this train goes, we can start this one again, and everything should be all right. So we'll start you, and then, you know, away you go. You can go into the platform, and then I don't think there's any, is there another train in there? There is. This one will come out, and I think wait before heading onto the main track. Hopefully. Oh, now would you look at that? We've got a train from the Palmdale direction coming in with 105 people on board. That's great to see. We have another train here getting ready to head towards San Francisco with 103 people on board. This is good. This is sort of tying into everything that I talked about, right? We want to do these sort of 3 stations per line. So you come into Kansas, you transfer for San Francisco, and so on and so on. We also have a lot of food waiting to head over to Garland, which is kind of wild, actually. Garland's food demand is 450. So we might want to do something with that. We also have a lot of people wanting to go to San Francisco. I think we just need more trains across the board. Now, when it comes to Garland, we've got 287 right now. When we look at you, it's 354. So if we bring this up a little bit, if I throw 2 more vehicles on that line, that brings us to 331. I think that's probably good enough. So I think the last thing I want to do today is try and bring the frequency of trains down approximately to 3 minutes across the board for all of my passenger lines. So for Palmdale to Columbus, that means having 4 trains. That gives us about 2 minutes 44 seconds between each one pulling into a station. For the Kansas to Palmdale line, that gives us 3 minutes, 2 minutes 56. It's 5 trains. And honestly, that's okay. So there's a little bit of difference there, but it's nothing crazy. And then when we look at Kansas itself, we have San Francisco to Kansas is currently a little bit faster than that, actually. But I think, again, I'm okay with that. It is making money, which is great. The other lines weren't. If we look in here, it's the same one. I don't know why I'm looking there at all. We want to have a look at this guy, which is also very busy. Very, very busy. 3 minutes on this one. It is full though, so let me just, you know what, throw more trains at that problem as well, and we'll see how that plays out. I am curious though, if we look into my balance and we sort of sort by least profitable, Palmdale to Columbus is minus 15.7 million. It's gonna be because the buses haven't even reached the towns that need to, need them. That's to be expected. This guy is still losing money, again to be expected. This guy is still losing money, again to be expected. What's interesting is if we flip this, are we seeing, yeah, San Francisco to Kansas is climbing a little bit there. Salem to San Francisco is climbing a little bit there. If we go down a little bit, we have Salem to Montgomery is here. Not that much money, but we no longer have a giant train line losing us 36 million across the board. So we have managed to turn things around. Even if I have spent ridiculous amounts of money, we're down to $2.2 billion. What am I going to do? I'm broke. We were at 3 billion at one point. Now I'm just broke. Now I'm just poor. We might run out of money. It might happen. It probably won't, but it could. Now, looking over here, it's still a ridiculous number of people wanting to fly to Kansas versus taking a train to get there. That's probably fair enough. I don't know why they want to do that, but fair enough. Let me have a look at the Salem to Kansas line. So it is never full. What is this? Salem? Yeah, there's 20 people. Oh, it is full. So it's full going there. It's just not full coming back. Do we have any new trains? Planes. I mean, I'm pretty sure we do, right? We have the, oh, all right. Yeah, we have some options. We have the 737-100. We have the DC. This thing can carry 60 people. Oh. It's 150. You know what? We're doing it. We're doing it. That's a big old plane. That's not it. That's not it. Where is it? Do we have one on the ground right now? We don't. Can I... This one has one person on board. This one has 20. Where is it? Let's have a look at you. Oh, look at you. Honestly, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I'm hopeful that now that we can move 300 people, it's going to be a good thing, right? Hopefully that means that we're not going to have this many people just waiting around at Salem Airport to head down to Kansas. Also, can I now configure this with another runway? No. Is that not a thing? Or have we just not got to that point? I was fairly sure you can do... So it's not... We didn't build an airfield, did we? Oh, no. Wait. What's the difference? Wait, what is it? So, that's an... Oh, no, that's the airfield. Yeah, we didn't build an airfield, so I'm pretty sure you can get a second runway. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess we'll find out. Oh, would you look at this? We do finally have some passengers down here in Beaumont, which is fantastic news. We have a good number of people wanting to come down to Columbus as well. This is actually... I wasn't expecting these trains to fill up quite as quickly as they are, but I'm happy that we are, or they are. We do have buses going around Beaumont as well. I think there is... Wait a minute. Did I miss a station? Beaumont Loop 1. I did. Oh... Interesting. So add a little stop right here, please, so that we can get that going. We do have people waiting, which is great. We do have a few more vehicles in this line as well. I decided to make it a little bit more frequent, which I think is fair enough. And we do have vehicles on the way to Columbus, and we have a few more of those coming down as well, which is great news. We do have people waiting for buses across the board. They're going to be a little bit unhappy about the wait. But again, we have, what, 5 of them coming down right there. We should have a few more on the way. They'll just take a while to get there. But honestly, I'm very happy about this. I am very, very happy about this. This seems to be working perfectly. We've got a good old flight coming in here. That is a huge plane compared to the Boeing. Good Lord. And it's full as well. That's what scares me about this. I don't know why so many people are going down there. And it just seems like more and more people want to go down there as well, which is what's wild to me. I don't think we need to change the other planes across the board. I think we're kind of okay with just this one line having the giant plane right now. But I think, more importantly than all that, we can go ahead and leave it there for today. I think this has been a bit of a resounding success. This little change to my my passenger train lines seems to be making me quite a bit of money. We also seem to have quite a bit of food just sitting in here waiting to get down to Garland, which is interesting. That might be traffic related. I almost wonder if it would be an idea to just do a little something like this so the traffic has a dedicated turn lane. Might not be a bad idea. We'll just sort of extend it like that, and we'll hope for the best, because that is going to do us for today. I'm about to get distracted Oh man, thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.